All right, class. Well, it's a new week, April 22nd through the 27th, and visualizing with technologies is the topic, but I want to warn you that this is the second to last week of our class, so be sure to know that, pay attention to that. We only have a short amount of time in class, and just as a reminder too, there's the finals week next week, and that will be, you'll have your cooperative communication project due, and your tech talk and integration recipe. Now, all of you submitted your integration recipe, but this is your, actually all of you submitted all your Tech Talk things too. So that should be your final warning though on that one, even though you've all submitted it. And then there's a constructive Makerspace assignment. So that reflection for the Makerspace assignment is due May 4th as well. So make sure you get this stuff in before the end of next week. The Makerspace assignment, we talked about that a long time ago in the semester, but basically the idea is that you organize or participate in a Makerspace experience, and then you submit a reflection upon that experience. So don't forget to get those things in by next week. But yeah, let's go back to this week a little bit. Talk about what's due, what we're going to be working on. So let's see, sample, okay. So number one is that for the collaborative, I'll go back to April 29th to May 4th, the Cooperative Communication Project. Now, I introduced this last week. If you didn't get that intro video, it's online there in the week for last week, the information about what it involves. I forgot though to mention that you can do this cooperatively. In other words, because it's a cooperative communication project, in other words, you can pick somebody else from this class to work with, and you can both submit one only. You can work together on one cooperative communication project. Now, I do suggest that if you work together, make sure you do parts 1 and 2 together. The lesson plan and the project plan and the video or recorded presentation. But yeah, make sure that you submit. You only need to submit one, but make sure you both work together on both parts of the project. But yeah, you can work together. So if you want to work in a group of 2, and I might even allow 3 if you let me, if you ask me and give me permission, or I give you permission. So if you want to work on this with a friend who's also in this class, you can do that. What else? Take a look at the activities for this week now. So let's see. This week we have another discussion. And here we have, so you'll read chapter 9, and then there is a tech talk from Now Comment. And this is kind of a cool tool that Morgan created a video and recipe about for allowing online commenting about documents. And how useful is that to have an online commenting option about documents where you actually are able to comment on the different documents collaboratively together. There's a lot of good that can come from the options. So take a look at that tech talk. And then the discussion this week is going to be on a recently written article on the state of educational technology in South Dakota. So this is an article that I have written and submitted for publication. It hasn't been published yet, but you're going to read this article and kind of look at what information stuck out to you. Were there any interesting ideas or thoughts you had about larger versus smaller districts in our state and so forth? But basically what this is an article that I recently published. Now before I had an earlier version of this on there, I changed it to be a more recent one. This is a longitudinal survey study completed, I think, mostly this semester, really, earlier this semester. And it started 3 years ago, so I did a study of teachers 3 years ago, sent out a survey, and then 3 years afterward, just last semester, I sent out another survey and received responses. And that gives us an idea of how educational technology is changing over time in the state, particularly barriers to educational technology use. So that's what the discussion is about this week. Just take a look at that article, read through, understand what it's talking about. It won't mention our state in the article because it's using it as in sort of a general term, but realize that that is within our state, and so that's what you want to go with. Talking about educational technology in South Dakota. So other than that, you really have the assignments to be working on. for this project, so for this week as well, after once you've completed those activities for this week, the discussion and other activities. So I wanted to take a chance though, before you finish or before you plan out your editing of your video, make sure that you have taken a look at the video tutorials provided last week. So April 15th through the 20th, we had some readings, and underneath creating an online presentation or video was a link to the Educational Technology for Teachers video book. Now in that book is a section about editing you want to use in your video. I want to see some wide shots, some medium shots, and some close-up shots. Basically, I'm going to grade you based on this, what you've read in the book and followed in creating your video. So make sure you have all these three things, and use good video composition as it talks about, and so forth. But let's go down. Audio and editing, though, is where I want you to go to look at a little bit closer. So there's these editing video, iMovie on the iPad. It shows how to create a video and edit in iMovie. So it gives you those tools and techniques for doing that, and adjusting clips, adding audio, and exporting in iMovie. So again, click on those. You can watch a video on how to do those activities. Make sure that you have watched those and that you have some kind of editing software to do that. And if it's not iMovie, if you have just Windows 10, you might have the Photos app, and you can use the Photos app, and there's a couple of videos here. It says Microsoft Photos, and you can edit video clips in Microsoft Photos to create this. This is something that you want to make sure you give yourself time on, because video tends to be very intensive. It's something that is hard for a computer to process, even modern computers. And so sometimes you'll have it crash or other things will happen. You need to give yourself time to complete this. Don't plan on submitting this or completing this, starting on May 4th and completing it all in one day. It's the kind of thing that you want to give yourself time with. So if you have Microsoft Photos, make sure you watch those videos on how to add audio, how to edit, how to finish video in Microsoft Photos. If you have iMovie on the iPad, then use that one. If you have something else, let me know. I might be able to help point you toward tutorials to help you to use iMovie, for instance, on the Mac or some other software. But one of those three software applications should work for you to create this. Now I wanted to show you, of course, some tips and tricks for whatever software you might use to use iMovie. Well, this is iMovie, but anyway, to use whatever software you might to create these close-ups, to cut in these close-ups, these long shots, these medium shots. So I'm going to play this video of me editing on iMovie. And if you look here, I've just got some shots of Jacob here, and he's showing us how to use the smartboard. And if you look, there's a close-up shot of him doing that. So I'm just bringing these things in and kind of putting them in the right mode, arranging them so that they kind of make sense. So you notice in this first shot, this is supposed to be the first shot, he points toward the board, and right there is a good place to put a close-up of him touching the board. And so that's what I do, is I put that close-up shot of him touching the board coming in after that. So he reaches toward the board here, and then there's oh, actually I've got that wrong here. Let me switch it around. So switch it around a little bit here. Alright, so now he's going to point toward the board, and it should show a close-up of his hand. There it is, nicely done. But this is a transition. I don't want a transition. I want a no transition, so that when he goes to the board, it just makes sense. He pops on there, shows his close-up, and then goes back to him again. So this is a medium shot, and then I'm going to shorten it down so that it works better, so that it flows from his hand touching the board, moving toward the board to touching the board, and we'll play it through here. There he goes, he touches the board, and then it cuts back to a medium shot again. So there we have the medium shot. I'm going to shorten this one as well to make it fit a little bit better. And there he goes, and he talks more about the medium shot, or it shows the medium shot as he talks more about the board. Now this is important for your learning, because if you think about it, I'm going to go back a bit. Any kind of instructional video is going to have these important close-ups that show exactly what's going on. You can't just do a video that's instructional and have it be a quality one with just shots like this medium shot here. You have to Move in, show what's going on. And the best time to do that again is during the video. You can't just, while somebody's trying to show the actual skill that's being taught, whether it's knitting, whether it's how to mix brownies, um, any kind of skill that you want to teach, you need to show the close-up shot. So you're going to have the person, whoever's in your video, is going to stop for a moment while you get the camera situated closer to where they are, and then go to the close-up shot and shoot what they're exactly doing so if it's, let's say it's making brownies and they're going to mix it in a bowl, well then you're going to take a look at mixing it in a bowl, from a close-up standpoint while they do that, and then wait for a moment, go back to your medium shot so that the person can talk to the camera about the next step in the process. This is quality instruction about videos. Here's another example of an instructional video that uses different clips or different shots to tell its story. So we have sort of the long shot of the truck, and the movement there, that's pretty amateurish, moving around with the camera. What you read hopefully in the book was that that's not something to do unless it's very smooth movement. But anyway, it cuts to this close-up, right? This is the close-up of the supplies that you'll need to change the oil in your car. And then it's going to go back to, the places in the engine. I'm going to show you where to go for the engine. Again, the movement, probably not too good of a thing, although it kind of gives you a sense for what to do. There's a close-up of the oil pan. And then it's going to tell you about close-ups of things. So, and then we've got, again, we have close-ups. And we also go back to, let's see if we can go back to some of the longer shots. This is more of a medium shot that we go back to during the video. It's kind of a nice medium shot showing, hey, we're opening up the lid here. Here's where we are. Again, you have different types of shots near the truck. And don't forget the movement, though. I don't like the movement in this clip, right? So just keep it still. Keep the camera steady. If a movement is going to be happening, make sure it's smooth and just either vertical or horizontal only, not shaky like this. But there's a close-up of what's going on there. It should cut back to now what we do. So there's another example video, and I'll just show you how to change the lawnmower's engine oil. Hopefully this one has some good clips as well. So here's kind of a medium shot, what's going on here. And then let's see how it cuts to another shot of the person working with the oil. Another shot of the close-up of, pouring in the oil, that kind of thing. So what I don't want from your videos basically is what I'm saying here is one single take, like one single shot, and you do the entire thing in one single shot. No, I want to see, an intro saying, hello, I'm Greg here. I'm doing a video on how to change oil or how to drive a car or whatever it is. And let's take a look. Now don't forget that the manual transmission is important in this car, and then you'd have a close-up of the manual transmission or the stick shift, or something like that. So you want to go from shot to shot as you shoot this video. And then when you're finished with shooting all the video, then you take the moments and do like I showed you to, put it all together in a software like iMovie or Microsoft Photos app, and then go ahead and edit those things together so it makes a nice, smooth, and continuous video, having all the different shots together. So I think that's about it for this week. Hopefully this video wasn't too long, but yeah, putting all this together hopefully will help you to know what to get done for this week. And don't forget that you have these resources, though, provided last week. Hopefully you paid attention to those that will help you to edit the video.